So there's their crafty stuff.
Right.
And so I'm like, I wouldn't, seriously, to be like, veterinarians, don't you go to the craft store. Like, I would have not even thought about that.
Well, because being the type A that I am, I completed the task. You know, nobody else in my group wanted to do it, which was cool. I like to craft. And then I handed it to you, I think, that night. And then, like, the next day, everybody had gone to the store and bought all that stuff.
I
And I was
know.
like, oh.
Just when you think, I know, you think you know a profession, and then they go and do some crazy stuff like this. No, that completely blew my mind. So it'll be interesting to see what we do, what the group does this year, and we're gonna, we're committed to this format for quite a number of years now, and we'll see whether or not it fills a niche and fills a need that we think it does, but so does, like, eating your vegetables and flossing. Like, those are all, we all agree that those are noble things to spend your time doing. So I'm hoping the profession can, like, just embrace some new ways of thinking, because fundamentally that will be how we become healthier, and how we will fill positions, and how we will help our colleagues be like mentally and physically healthier. Because if we just keep pressing on and saying, I just need to be a better surgeon, I just need to be better at reading urinalyses, I just need to be better at my arthritis spiel, we're not going to be healthier as a profession. And I want us to be. I'm tired of losing people.
Well, I thought you guys did a fantastic job. And you can tell a lot about a conference based on how much eye contact people make between lectures.
Mm-hmm.
And normally, like, their heads are down and they're just, like, beelining to the bathroom or the next one. But people are actually looking up and talking. And I thought you did a great job. I will say, though, the animals almost started a turf war, because when I handed in our giraffe, we no longer had that marker on our table.
Oh, yeah.
And I swear the dolphins stole our table. And so there were 5 of us that were displaced, and we were like, oh, those dolphins.
No,
Because now you know these people, and they're like your peeps. And I was like, oh, we're going to take on the dolphins.
Yeah. No, and it's, again, unintended consequences. Like, there's, like, people out there that act, because it's a job. Meeting planning is a job. Like, you go to college to become a meeting planner, right? And we have a fantastic meeting planner. But you can, even those that are, like, super skilled at it, which I am not, but I'm learning, you just can't anticipate. Like, one of the other things, this is from our meeting planner, this is her first year taking care of the veterinary industry. She's like, you guys do not read signs. She's like, I am standing beside the sign that says lunch buffet in this room. I'm standing beside it, and I'm having people come up to me being like, I can't find lunch. Where's lunch? So this year she has a whole other way of doing this. She's decided we respond better to animals than we do to words. So she's going to try to herd us in that manner.
Yeah. Maybe arrows on the floor for when we're not looking up.
I know. Paw prints. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
We like free food, right?
We do. And free pens. Oh, yes. She could line the floor with pens. So we could just pick them up as we go.
Good idea. Very good idea.
I also liked how you did the that one room where there were the little tables with the different companies, and you had, like, the stamps. I thought that was a really smart way to, because most of the time we just sneak up to the table in the, grab the free stuff and then run away. Right. But we actually got to learn something. That was a neat idea.
Yeah, we're going to do something similar to that, even ramp it up a little bit more, because I think something that the profession has a hard time embracing is the idea that our industry partners, our sponsors, the people that make the medication and the stuff that we use to heal animals, that interacting with them is somehow, like, dirty.
Yeah.
And it's just not. And these people they could get paid better being on the human side. So being a pharmaceutical rep and the human side pays way better than the animal side. But the people the ones that choose to work for that in the industry, they really do want to help and support our profession. And the majority of them make really good stuff that we couldn't practice without it. So they have to learn, though, too. So that was something that we noticed, is our sponsorship partners weren't used to interacting with veterinarians in that way either. They were so used to people, again, like, peeking up over the edge of the table, grabbing the pen, and then disappearing again, right?
Stuffed animal.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're going to make that a little bit more natural as well for everybody, because it's a different format for them. You know, they're used to being in their big fancy shiny booths, and we're not doing that purposefully. We'd like to have everybody interact and network more.
So I had a thought for how you guys could do that. Probably not going to do it, but it would be really cool. Is, you know how we had to get the stamps? So like they gave us a card, and then you had all these like tables, standing tables, and you would talk to each drug rep, and then they would stamp your card. Well, if everybody got a Connexity tasting glass, and when you walk in the room, each booth had a different drink. You'd have to do real small because and not very many booths, but you know, and you could then promote, if you did it in Denver, you could promote local breweries or local wineries. But I just thought that would be kind of fun because, you know, by your third taste, you'll get a lot more chatting.
Right, exactly. No, I think that's a very good idea. I'll run that by our meeting planner because I do, I like that idea. That's good.
Yeah, let me know if that noodle sticks.
I will. I totally will.
Because I know that they do have, my husband and I are big microbrewery fans. My husband actually grows his own hops and makes beer. And so we always like going to different places and tasting different beers. And so I think that would be really cool.
No, that is cool. It's a great idea. It's a really good idea. Yeah.
Well, well, I'm excited for when David sends me to the 2019.
I think you should be. I think it's going to be even better because there was so much stuff that we're like, we don't know what we're doing. And because we were so good at doing what we had always done. And like for people listening that are like, I don't think it would be a good idea for me to try something new. Like we were an organization that tried something like crazy new, and it was really scary, but it really was probably like the most rewarding professional thing I've ever done. And the excitement and the fear and the panic and that was happening all at the same time ended up like I was so into it that I didn't really even realize I had a concussion until I had until a couple days before the before Connexity. Do you remember that? Yeah, I had fallen wakeboarding and thought a couple weeks prior, and I thought all the dizziness and the nausea and the like stars I was seeing was all related to like the stress of planning this thing, only to find out that it wasn't. I actually had a brain injury, and but it kept, and I don't recommend this, but I just wanted it to go well so badly that like that kept me moving, and it was so rewarding to see all of that come true, like all of the dreams that we had actually come true. And the biggest one was probably just like, as you said, like seeing people that I knew didn't know each other were talking to each other. And I knew that they would get so much out of interacting with each other if I could just get them to do that. And so it was completely worth it. And my brain's fine now, and I took a big rest afterwards and everything. But even if I lost a couple brain cells, it was totally worth it to see our awesome colleagues like interacting with each other. It really, really was.
Do you remember the movie Willy Wonka, the Chocolate Factory?
Yes, I do.
So when you walked out on stage with the cane the very first day, I thought you were going to reenact that scene when he comes out with the cane and then does the somersault and jumps up and is like, I'm fine. And so in my head, I was chuckling. And then you come out and you say you have a brain injury. And I was like, oh, well, I'm kind of a jerk for sitting here thinking you're going to do it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So you should do that next year.
I should. I totally should. Yeah, I wasn't sure. When I arrived in Denver, I get the call from my boss and he's like, okay, so glad you're here. What do you need? I'm like, I can't see straight and I can't walk, so I think I need a cane. And he's like, ah! I'm like, no, really? Really? I'm like, and it needs to be turquoise because it has to match my dress because I worked so hard to make sure that all my outfits match the background. It needs to be turquoise. So as a good boss, he got it done.
Yeah, it was a very nice cane.
Yeah.
Do you still have your hot mess Snickers bar?
It's actually in my Snicker. It's in my purse.
Nice.
Which is close by. If it's like flat now. Yeah. But I do. Yeah, I do still, because I still am a hot mess, and that's okay. That is okay.
You're gonna be like a melty mess.
Yeah,
it's carrying it around.
Yeah, no. I know, because I keep like, I should take this out. I'm like, well, I can't leave it in my car. It would melt. I'm like, oh, I can't put it on my desk. That's gross. So I just like keep it in my purse. Which is
you could get one of those like trophy holders.
No.
Just put it on here.
I can put it beside my Connexity picture.
Yeah.
Back there. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll do that.
I did have a question about those. Who designed those?
We have internal designers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The like OCD part of me like still doesn't like that it's not one disembodied head in the center. You know, that it's like half of a head. I do like it, and like I said, I have it up. But I was like, but I feel like you guys did that on purpose because, you know, we're growing and we're.
Yes.
I made it more deep than it is, I think.
Yeah, I know. It might have been like, hey, we need a dog and a cat. It needs to be turquoise and red because those are our colors. It might have been that. Or there's a lot of thought and it's like existential discussion on like the importance of looking at animals.
Yeah.
Not just in half, but as whole beings.
Oh, that's so good.
That's something. Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah, I like it. Cool. Well, I have a few minutes left.
Sure.
And I just wondered if you wanted to talk a little bit about how, from AHA's perspective, because I know you worked closely with Petwell when they were starting their accreditation. Yeah. I mean, you guys really kind of created a new category together, correct?
Yeah, that was actually really fun. So that's how I met David. Actually, is I actually facilitated the creation of all those standards. So for your thousands of listeners that are out there right now, nice. We have so AHA creates standards for general practices and specialty practices to adhere to in order to be accredited by our organization. Medical practices, not like what drug to use, but that you should document the drug you're using. You should tell the client how it works, and just different ways of making sure that the standards of that are used to care for animals are really, really good and really scientifically based. And the accreditation process is actually voluntary. And so most veterinary hospitals are not accredited by the American Animal Hospital Association. Only about 12 to 15% are. So that speaks to the fact that AHA accredited hospitals really are a special group of people. They do want to go above and beyond because they don't have to do this, but they want to. They're proud of how they practice, they're proud of their team, and they really want to outwardly show that. So actually, there's a trend in the veterinary profession that of larger companies buying up smaller veterinary practices and taking them from private ownership into more corporate ownership. And depending on your perspective, that can be a really empowering, good thing because people can retire, practice owners can retire, we can have more buying power as a group of hospitals and as an individual hospital. You can have more support with human resources and accounting if you live under the umbrella of a corporate entity. Or it can be thought of as sort of like sad because like, where's the mom and pop veterinary hospital going? And what's going to happen if everything goes corporate, in quotation marks. So we wanted to address the trend because we can't stop the trend, regardless of how we feel about it. We can't stop it. So how can we protect the profession by having this trend towards more corporate ownership be a more positive thing? And the leadership at Petwell Partners reached out to us. They loved AHA. They loved what we stood for. And they wanted to learn, like, how could we, as a corporate entity, show that we're different from the other corporations that buy veterinary hospitals? So that was a really great question, and the timing was perfect. So we got a task force together of volunteers within the industry, within corporate medicine, in private medicine, our board of directors, and little old me, and we created standards for corporate entities. And these don't have anything to do with medicine. They don't have anything to do with, what you write down when you're taking care of a dog or a cat, or what kind of ventilation system your isolation unit has. It's all related to the way that the corporation treats the staff, treats their finances, treats the financial health of their corporation. And they have some also really neat stewardship standards, which were basically designed to, if followed, they're leaving the profession in a healthier place than when it started. And that was I was super excited about those. So PetWell Partners is our first corporately accredited, or veterinary practice network is what we call them. So it's our first